paradise has no room for hierarchy. Hierarchy maintains a strict order of what is deemed higher and what is deemed lower. But if your path is at the mercy of a force that isn't yourself, that means your destiny is not in your hands. But your destiny is in your hands and no one else's. It's one of the most common but inverted spiritual ideas that a soul is dependent on the mercy and grants of a force that essentially owns that soul. This is the idea of a god or deity who judges, which creates a feeling of subservience. Most beings who involve themselves in spirituality end up succumbing to this master-slave dynamic, which has no basis in the true paradisal reality. So why is this nonsense accepted? Because it's easier to relinquish one's power when taking complete responsibility for one's state of consciousness seems frightening. The divine is not a feudal system, no matter what the religious and spiritual traditions of this world may want to have us believe. We are not peasants to forces that are more majestic. And if we are, then those forces do not represent full freedom and should not be put on a pedestal. To be free is to be sovereign, to be a self-sustaining universe that radiates gold, free from another's expectations or commands. Hierarchy is actually the most immature concept. Where's the hierarchy in an expressive dance? Where's the hierarchy in a melodious song? Where's the hierarchy in a moment of pure childlike wonder? Do you hear what I'm saying? We forfeit the desire and supposed need to measure when we're in flow state. When we embrace the flow of a moment, a hierarchy cannot remain. It is a complete insult to the universe to measure its infinite potential with limited labels of what we deem to be objectively higher and lower. This is madness. There is no difference between the spirit of an artist and the divine. The essence that pours out of us in a moment of true expression without a need to hierarchically organize is exactly the divine. But the artist cannot effectively create if he or she is trying to paint greater creations than another because of internalized hierarchy. Remember, anything that makes us feel less than empowered is a tool of deceit. And hierarchies by default make those wishing to exist at the top feel less than, unless they achieve that summit. Promises of reaching the summit through following a doctrine or deity's wishes sound lovely, but this is how falsity, this is how illusion hooks one in who wants to be free. The truth is, infinity has no hierarchy, and we are infinite. So anyone promoting such boringness is simply repeating the most popular Matrix mantra here. The strict, suffocating order of a pecking order, of a ladder of status, is the most widespread inversion here. There is no such thing as eternal status in the cosmos. Besides, hierarchy is such a boring concept. It is lifeless. It insists that one must know their place in this made-up system. A system, a sham, that only this matrix upholds. If and when you exit this world of illusion, you shall see for yourself that only limited humans who wish to cage the divine or own it would insist on hierarchy being a divine law. Mortal fools. Since hierarchy and bureaucracy go hand in hand, Those who follow this foolishness end up, usually unknowingly, rooting for limitation. Who we find beautiful is beautiful. We do not find one beautiful simply because they are more beautiful than another. This type of comparison is only necessary within a sterile ladder of hierarchical organization and absolutely has no place in Hyperborea, in paradise. The heart does not care about any so-called objective measurement of what's better or worse. However, the heart does care about what is beneficial. If we don't align with something, that means it's not beneficial for us in the moment. It doesn't mean we are greater than that which we don't align with. Many beings on earth measure spirituality instead of artfully knowing it now. There is so much debate between what is right and wrong, usually within ourselves, and within this insanity, no solace is achieved. One cannot stand for freedom, truly, when they relinquish the direction of their journey to other forces, no matter how divine those forces are deemed. If you don't own your journey 100%, then you choose to be owned in some way. And ownership, the master-slave dynamic, leads to the very binary consciousness that we're trying to distance ourselves from in this shadow world. Seeing oneself as a mere spectator or one without true power to ascend can give one comfort because it allows the repetition of the archaic Piscean perspective of, I'm a human and you are the god, I need to stop being human mentality that keeps division alive in one's path. Hyperborea is a spaceless space where only full empowerment for all beings is the name of the game. Without one shining brighter than another and reigning over like a king or a queen. All beings are kings and queens in paradise without subservience. Spirit, who we call Sophia, is a force that is not separate from us. Your own energetic signature calls forth specific events into your experience, meaning everything you go through is completely orchestrated by you. But this is not a conscious act. Energy advocates for itself without having to will a specific outcome. This is truly how everything unfolds. The inner self guides, not a being or group of beings in some distant, perfected sphere of influence. The devil is in the details. Why not accept freedom? No matter what details want to suggest how dangerous that move may be, don't worry about freedom as you think it should exist. Even within this world of limitation, you are free right now, in so many ways, to dance, to speak, to move, to create via the tools you have, to imagine, to learn, to meditate, to stretch, to shower, etc., etc. So that's what we can choose to acknowledge, rather than the endless list of sufferings and surprises that we think we're randomly subjected to here. Keep up the great work.